What's up, guys? It is none other than your boy JGiddins the father. I want to first off thank everybody for watching my videos. If you are at this page right now, it means that you are looking forward to contributing to the progression of humanity as a whole, which is what my overall goal is. The topic of discussion today that I would like to talk about is going to be remnants of oppression. I honestly feel like this is probably going to be one of the more important videos that I could ever do, as it's a topic that is really kind of a way to surmise the demise of the black community as a whole. So to define remnants of oppression, in order to clarify my perspective to people, I would define it as the lasting effects of slavery, racial injustice, segregation, just the lasting effects of these things on the black community. Similar to traumatizing events such as a rape, the way that these things don't just happen and then dissipate after they happen. They leave a lasting traumatic effect on the people who are affected by it. The goal of today's video really is just to sort of explain and interpret the way that remnants of oppression play a vital role on remnants of oppression plays a vital role in the black community and the downward spiral of the black community as a whole. Majority of the things that you hear about in terms of, the criminality, the anger, the violence, these things can all be linked to remnants of oppression. I really seek to sort of dispel the ideas or the ideology that certain races may have. Some people think that because like my skin is brown, that means I'm genetically predisposed to being violent, or that it's inconceivable that I could be as good of a person as someone who has lighter skin. And while we all who are intellectuals understand that this is a frivolous argument and it makes no sense, there's a strong group of people who either believe in that or are surrounded by people who believe in that, which is why I always try to tell people to make sure to be positive, optimistic, and keep positive people in your circle, as that will control and influence your thoughts. Now, I feel like the entire idea of remnants of oppression can be surmised or summarized by one word, under one umbrella. If this was a hierarchy, if remnants of oppression was a hierarchy, I feel like at the top and underneath it you would have systemic racism, right? So systemic racism, to sort of define that, is the systematic destruction of a society targeting race or based on race, right? During these, the systematic destruction. The purpose and goal is to basically, I would summarize it in, words like manipulate, influence, control. This is the intent of systemic racism, because it's essentially modern day slavery. And a lot of the things behind systemic racism are meant to do these things. I want to sort of dig into with you guys what some of the things that are a part of systemic racism are and the role that they play, right? So the first one that I would say is programs, right? Programs, like anything, right? There's a phrase that says, guns don't kill people, stupid people with guns kill people, right? So programs themselves are not bad, but the intent behind the program or the purpose of the program is what makes it bad, right? So there's certain programs, and by the way, I'm born and raised in Baltimore, right? So a lot of the perspective that I have as it relates to these programs are based on where I am. These programs have many names, many shapes and forms, so you may be aware of different variations of these in your own area. But one of the programs I would like to highlight is welfare. There's different sections of that. You have one called TCA, which is temporary cash assistance, which is a program where you can get sort of free money. But in general, what I want to say about the welfare program is that it's not really designed for rehabilitation, right? The welfare program is more so designed to sort of it promotes, I would say, complacency and dormancy. That those are two good words. I would say complacency and dormancy is meant to, it's sort of like hush money, right? It's meant to keep you quiet about the things that are causing the issues that require you to need welfare, right? So there's no real resolution for the underlying issue that causes you to need welfare. It's more so a stress on making sure that you can just take care of the essentials, the things that may cause you to be more motivated to want to address those underlying issues. It's all about control. Another one would be Section 8. Section 8 housing. Section 8 is a housing program, right? So Section 8 is a program where, you can apply for it. They'll give you housing at a very cheap price. Sometimes it's like $15 a month, $20 a month for housing. There's certain rules and regulations regarding Section 8 housing. One of them is that you cannot have a father in the household, right? So if you have Section 8 housing, which is very affluent in these neighborhoods of colored people or blacks, disparaged communities where there's income inequality and such, Section 8 housing will prevent there being a father in the household. And this is typically offered to women. A lot of women of color take advantage of these types of programs. And if you guys are familiar, if you read up on it a little bit, slavery. During the times of slavery, what would happen sometimes is they would kill or separate and remove the father from the mother and children, right? And they would do this in front of the mother and children, and the purpose is to send a message, right? The purpose of that message is to sort of not only place fear, but I don't know, it's just a certain sense of, I can't really think of a good word, but basically what I mean is it's meant to put you in the mindset of being controlled and understanding that power is not what you have, right? So Section 8 housing promotes the lack of a two-parent household, which we all know from, statistics and studies that a child who grows up in a two-parent household is more likely to be successful. That alone in itself is a problem. And also, similar to the welfare program, it doesn't do anything to address the issues which lead to you needing Section 8 housing, right? The underlying issues. I would also say child support. Child support hits home, right? I want to start off by saying child support is not necessarily a bad thing, right? As I said, all programs are not bad things. Child support is meant for, sometimes you can have situations where you have a husband and wife. They have lots of, conjoined assets, and they are splitting up, and you have to determine what amount of assets is going to go to taking care of the children, who's going to have them, things of that nature. Now, child support is not marketed in this way in our communities, in the black communities, right? Child support is incentivized. As a matter of fact, it works in tandem with other programs, and a lot of these other programs require that you put the father on child support in order to proceed, right? So you end up in situations where you have, you have women who are incentivized to cripple, if you will, the father, which, if you paid attention to the reference that I made before with slavery, and you refer that to modern day slavery, they seem very similar, right? The purpose is to sort of destroy the strength in the family. We all know that a father has great representation in a family and provides tons of power and influence as it relates to the child's growth. I can attest to the fact that growing up, I didn't really know anyone who had their father. This might sound strange to some, to some people who may be watching this, which furthermore validates the purpose of this video. I did not know really anyone who had their father. I did not have my father. Saying the word dad or daddy or father is estranged to me. I have no association with it. It is also the reason that I fight so vigorously to make sure that other fathers, primarily black fathers, are aware of their value, right? I don't want to digress because that's, as I usually say, another video that I would have to go into great detail on. Again, I want to encourage you guys to watch my interview. If you take a look on my page, you'll be able to see where I go into further detail as to what the ties between systemic racism and fatherhood are. Also, drugs. You know, if you look into the history of drugs and their founding and their establishment here in at least the black community, you'll see that there was a little bit of orchestration involved, right? There was a little bit of creation of this drug epidemic that exists in the black community, and it serves the purpose of diluting our brains and our minds and sort of forcing us to have that as a go-to as all of these other systemic, racist programs and treatments are leading us to that. You know, there's a good friend of mine by the name of Will Chang, right? Marketer of this hat, right? Yang 2020. Make sure you get your Yang Pink Hat, right? So I was talking to him and he was telling me about how, I was explaining to him how the drug dealer in the black community is like the guy, right? He's the guy. That's who you look up to. That's who you see with money, being able to take care of his family, which is primarily what's promoted in these neighborhoods. He was explaining to me how the Asian community, their drug dealer are doctors, lawyers, those who have gotten degrees and persevered, right? Because no matter what, that can't be taken from them. And that really hit home with me, and it resonated when he told me that. And I just thought to myself that we need to make a change. We do need to make a change. So again, I want to make sure that you guys are aware of these things. In addition, so just to recap, remnants of oppression are the lasting effects of slavery, segregation, racial inequality, injustice. The umbrella that I would put all of these, effects under is systemic racism, where you have things such as programs that are meant to control, manipulate, influence our minds and control how we grow. And then in addition to programs, I would also say music, right? Music is a big one, guys. Music is a big one. Now, music is something where, like, I personally, I started out as a poet, right? When I was in high school, writing lab was one of my favorite events to attend, or classes rather, or subjects. And I was a really heavy poet, right? I was really into poetry. I loved poetry, and it sort of molded itself into rap, right? Now, the music industry is and was sort of confiscated, if you will, right? So in addition to many other things, music is used to help control the minds of our communities. When you think about, in order to say, like, get a record deal, right? If you're a music artist and you want to get a record deal, you will get millions of dollars thrown at you, especially as a black artist, if you come out talking about shooting and robbing people, sticking your grandmother up, I take your money, it's my money, I'm a gangster, you do these things, they'll throw money at you. And the reason being is it's meant to sort of, it's designed to reinforce the programs. It's designed to reinforce the effects of programs. You can sort of see you can sort of see a pattern as it relates to certain programs and certain influences that we have in our neighborhoods and the music, right? So certain programs like welfare, Section 8, child support, which are all meant to empower the woman so that she feels she doesn't need a man. If you listen to music, all you hear from certain artists, I won't say their names because I don't want to, bash anybody, but, one of the things that you always hear commonly in music is, and excuse me for this, for some of you guys who may not be privy, I don't need no nigga for shit, I don't need no man. I can take care of myself. Can't no nigga do shit for me. Single lady, you know. This is the mindset that they place in the women to help correlate with the programs, right? So then these women take advantage of the programs, and to a degree, they don't need a man for anything because they have their housing taken care of and they have a little bit of money being thrown at them so that they can get their hair and nails done, go out to the club and feel happy about themselves. And it provides what I would call a sense of false confidence, right? Or misrepresented confidence. So the women are confident in themselves on a physical level, but not a psychological level. So their entire purpose is to be attractive, you know, have the fat booty, have the nice, you know, hair extensions and look cute, because that is what they're taught is their value. And there is no value outside of that. That honestly can evolve into a different video all in itself to sort of explain what I mean by that, because that's a very deep subject in terms of the way our women are sort of molded by certain programs, by systemic racism, and it affects our communities greatly. Majority of men that grow up, or boys, grow up raised by women. You know, 80-90% of black males are raised by women who have been taught that they don't need a man for anything and a man doesn't matter, F a man, but they raise men. I pause on that because it's mind-blowing when you say that. You know, the best place to hide something is right in front of somebody's eyes. Listen to this. We have women who hate men raising men. So the men grow up and you expect the men to be good fathers. You expect them to be there for their child, and they have no reason to. They have no reason to. They've never seen a male role model. You know, I can attest to this myself. They've never seen a male who takes good care of their children or promotes it and talks about it on the level of, you know, on a level which a child would want to aspire to be, you know. So, you know, even down to radio stations, you know, like the local radio station where I'm at in Baltimore is 92Q, right? Or 92.3. You know, you'll hear a radio ad where they say, yeah, we got to big up the black community. It's all about black power. We want to make sure that we can, you know, improve our communities. We got to stop the violence. And then as soon as that commercial comes off, you hear a song. Yeah, fuck a nigga, I shoot him with a gun. Got my hand up in his face, take his shit and then he run. I'm sorry to go on so long, but I want y'all to really understand that this is an epidemic. The minds of our children are being controlled by music. And there's no one to sort of step up and say anything about it because no one is in a position to do so. You know, all the people who would have the motivation to want to do something about it are a part of the problem or benefiting from the problem in ways that they absolutely need. They have families they have to support. They have, you know, others around them that they need to work in tandem with and cannot if they were to. So it creates sort of a conflict of interest, if you will. I am a bit of an anomaly, I would call it, in the fact that my daughters have inspired me to be something greater. And the constant put downs of black fathers and fathers in general, and my own father, and lack of seeing fatherhood has motivated me and inspired me to be something greater. I just feel like I digress, guys. Music is a huge part of systemic racism. It is used to control the minds of our people. You know, it promotes violence, it promotes crime, it promotes, you know, it over-sexualizes women. It makes them have more of a sense of false confidence, as their confidence is misplaced and put in the wrong places. You know, the black community lacks the societal awareness to be able to fend against what this music does, you know, because I'm not saying that it's wrong to have music that's violent or speak about things, because music is expression itself. I'm a music artist myself, you know, JGiddins the artist. Look me up if you guys don't mind, right? But I believe that music is expression itself. It's expression of self. It's a verbal expression of emotion. I don't think that you should have to limit it to things that aren't violent or, you know, because you have these thoughts. But what I'm saying is the black community lacks the societal awareness to differentiate that from reality. They hear this song and they go and do it. Others hear the song and they go, oh, that was a cool song. You understand what I mean? And the programs reinforce that. It's all one big circle. And it's an endless cycle that cannot be fixed unless the victims become aware, right? That self-awareness. And it's just tough. It's just really tough because we all are suffering, and it's hard to become aware when you're trying to do what you have to do to survive, you know? So I want to end this by basically just mentioning some of the effects of remnants of oppression, which are, you know, anger, you know, violence, lack of confidence, just sort of, you know, violent behaviors, just an overall mindset of scarcity, which is what really resonated in me when I heard, you know, Andrew Yang speak on the mindset of scarcity, because that is the mindset that, you know, a lot of our hoods, ghettos, projects, whatever word you want to use to refer to the communities that, you know, I myself have been raised up in and actually currently live in, that is the mindset that they have, and that's what leads to people being robbed and killed and all these things. You know, we feel like we have no other option, you know. The purpose and the goal of this video is really to just sort of provide a little bit of insight to what the black community faces, you know, what we are up against. And it's not so easy to fight, you know. This mindset that I have is not one that you're likely to just be born with. You know, I'm an anomaly, and this does not happen often. But my, you know, the intellectual nature that I have has caused me to take a step back and sort of just make myself aware of things from another perspective, you know. And I want to use this to enlighten people, you know, to those out there who want to help. You know, you see all the movies like Dangerous Minds, you know, Coolio and, you know, Michelle Pfeiffer, where they want to come. That's an old movie, by the way, I'm telling my age. But you have the movies where there's like a white teacher who comes into a black neighborhood and they want to help all the students, and they're just trying to help them by, you know, doing certain things. And I feel like without the insight that I'm telling you about, it'll misappropriate your help. And a lot of the help that we need has to come from us, you know. And I just want you guys to really understand that no matter how much you want to help and you really do feel like it's your obligation as a good person in putting humanity first, we have to realize this ourselves. I will help this happen with the help of you guys, you know, because there's certain things that take place in our communities in terms of how we interact with one another that promote some of the things that I mentioned. And it's very important that these things be talked about and realized, you know, or else the help just goes nowhere, you know, like welfare, Section 8, all of these things, you know, EBT, SNAP, you know. Do you know, what's funny, do you know, my girlfriend applied for EBT, right? And do you know they sent her a letter suggesting that she put her father on child support? They sent her a letter saying, hey, if you put the father on child support, we'll give you more. And they're trying to incentivize it. Putting the father on child support puts him in a position where he can't support his child. I've always been a strong believer of the phrase, you know, if you're paying child support, then you're not supporting your child, because a child doesn't need, you know, a child support check that comes in the mail. A child needs help with their homework. A child needs daily discussions regarding the activities that took place in their life. A child needs assessment of their interactions and relationships with those around them. A child needs guardianship. A child does not need a check that goes to the mother. It's foolish, you know. And these things, they kill me, man. I'm gonna do everything in my power to try to put these things at the forefront of everybody's minds and sort of work with everybody to coexist in a better way, because some of the, you know, ideologies behind the assessment of the black race are based on things that just are inaccurate or, you know, ill-advised. So use me, right? in the comment section, in my inbox, on my Twitter, at JGiddins the fat one, right? You'll see the link below. Send me messages, comments, anything you want to ask. I am an open book. I'm a public figure. I serve no purpose other than to ensure that the future of my children is better. And if opening up to you guys my life and an insight into a culture that I'm immersed in, that I was raised in, that I can see the flaws in and accept and understand that we all need to work together in a different way, if that's what I can do to help, that's what I'm here for. I want to thank everybody. Thank you, YangGang, again. I thank you guys so much. YangGang came along and saved my life. Seriously, saved my life. I thank you, YangGang. Every one of you, you are my family until you make me believe otherwise, right? So you are innocent until proven guilty. Thank you so much, YangGang. Thank you to everybody who's watching this video. If you made it this far, you truly believe in the progression of humanity, and you truly believe in the black community, and you believe that the things that you're told and you're pushed on, that are pushed on you, are not true, and you seek the truth, and that alone makes you all right with me, right? All right, so thank you guys again. It's your boy JGiddins the father, man. If you guys get a chance, make sure to visit my page, patreon.com/JGiddins, and find out how you can support me. I do need help, to be honest with you guys, in terms of keeping these videos going, and I would really appreciate the support. Outside of that, please make sure to follow me on Twitter. I'm very interactive there, and I engage with people, and yeah, that's about all I got for you guys, man. I just really I'm trying to make sure that I cover anything that I may have wanted to, I guess I just want to encourage that you guys open up, be open, and understand that there's no question, there's no dumb question except a question unasked or unanswered, right? So it's your boy JGiddins the father. This has been a review of Remnants of Oppression, and thank you guys for joining me. JGiddins out, baby. YangGang.